Tug movement. Yeah. At this. Them a fool man, a real OG. This a war god pussy. Who them a free from the land of the brave? H-Stone Hackney, man a bad man. You better ask about me.
He zips back up the case, and we're in the queue to go to the next part where you go towards the plane or whatever. Or to put cases, this is to put your cases on the machine to go on the plane or whatever. And then I get a tap on the shoulder. I wasn't oiling the system as I was meant to. Which, if I did, God knows, but I wasn't willing to. And I'm so happy I didn't. Fuck that. Then they've sent the other 6 to a whole other section and they said, you're going over there. I was like, why am I going over here? Why are them not going over? What the fuck going on? I felt like I was being set up to me to go to Spanish Town prison and go through all of that and then come out on the other side. While I mash up the stage, so Jackie called me up. I'm mashing up the stage show. There's 1,800 people in the prison. They're all going crazy. I know he's absolutely out of his mind when it comes to that. And he wants the challenge.
And he's still got that commander mentality.
Yeah! And I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake. And I know the kind of motherfuckers that are running up.
Hi guys and welcome back to KRN TV. We're bringing you the most exciting interviews from around the world. Today delighted to be in Hackney with music superstar Tuggawar.
For days! Yang! In the building. Big up. KRN TV. Bless up, man.
Tugga, how we doing?
Really good, my brother. Man.
Thank you
really
very
good.
much for having me here today.
You're
it's
welcome.
Much appreciated.
You're
much
welcome.
appreciated to have the opportunity.
Nice. You're very welcome. Like I said, I liked your vibes from the get-go, so I thought, let's do this. Let's make it happen. You get me?
Much appreciated.
Yeah,
so for people who don't know, they've probably seen Tugga just as, not just as, but obviously just a music star, and they probably don't know too much about the story behind it, and more importantly the story about how he originally blew up.
Yeah,
a while ago. Obviously older people like myself are going to know obviously slightly more, but obviously Tugga is an incredible story. He ended up going out to Jamaica, trying to bring some weed back, going to jail out there, and blew up from within the jail as a legit artist that the Jamaican peoples co-signed and had like performing out there.
True.
Came out of jail, blew up, performing, biggest shows, Sting, and ended up having to come back to Britain for whatever reasons, but we'll get into that. But like I said, it's the most incredible story that everyone just needs to know.
No, thank you.
And you need to tell, I believe.
No, definitely. A lot. I like what you said. I'm quite well known, but not everybody knows this side of the story.
Indeed. So it just needs to be told. So let's go back though to obviously the start of your journey.
Yeah.
And see whereabouts you grew up and a little bit about the family settings. So did you grow up in Hackney? Yeah,
born and grow in Hackney. Born and grow. Mother's hospital.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And so talk to us about your parents and siblings and stuff like this. So
I'm the only child.
You're only child?
Only child for my mum, yeah.
And
my dad's Greek Cypriot.
Yep.
My mum's Irish from Cork.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so talk to me about obviously growing up then, your childhood then in Hackney, with your parents and that, and so what your influence was like, what your childhood schooling was like.
I grew up in Hackney when Hackney was really Hackney. It was a very vibrant community, very multicultural community. Still is. It was a lot wilder. You know, it's before CCTV and them things there, so it was a wild town, you know what I mean? It was a lot of fun. Big Jamaican, African community, you know, like what I said, multicultural. So you see, you grow up in Hackney, you grow up like with every type of culture, which is one of the nicest experiences from a young person growing up in Hackney. Because when I grew up older, I thought everywhere was the same. You know, when you're young, you think everywhere's like where you're from. Where I grew up was so multicultural. When I got to learn other areas aren't so multicultural, it was an eye opener for me.
Mm.
Yeah, so it was like that.
And so obviously your mum raised you. Was your dad present? During
Yes,
your childhood?
yes, he was. Yeah.
And so what was your dad doing for a living and such? What was the influences from your dad? What did he do for work at them times there when you were a child?
Oh, when I was a child,
Yeah.
when my father come over from Cyprus, he first was a minicab driver,
Okay.
and my mum was actually the controller.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
so that's how they met then.
Well, they met before that, but
Yes.
they was doing that, and then they opened up their own business. It was like selling. My dad got involved in the rag trade in the 80s, selling cotton, zips, and stuff like that, because that in the Greek community it became a very popular trade, and that trade was booming in the 80s. So my mum and my dad opened up their own business, and that became quite successful, and they opened up a shop as well. So I grew up amongst that. My dad worked really hard. I see them work really hard to build a business independently, you know. So I see a lot of hours and hours of work and dedication, and I got involved in it as well. And I learned a lot of principles working from young, you know, about how you have to work for your money and put a lot of work in. So my work ethic, my work rate you see from today stems from them principles that I grew up on.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
And so talk to me about your schooling then. Like, what sort? Were you good at school and stuff? Were you hard worker at school? Did you good in
I was,
exams?
you know
Were
what?
troublesome?
I've always been. I'm an intelligent guy, so I've always been intelligent. I've always been smart, but I was probably one of the kids who thought they were too smart for school. I left school too early.
Okay.
I left school early. I got involved in early road life in Hackney, smoking weed, starting to get involved in gangs and hanging around the wrong sort of crowds, and you know, from a young age. So I dropped out of school. So I didn't do no exams or anything, and my excuse was I was gonna work for my dad. You know what I mean? But I didn't really. I was sort of picked a different life at the time.
Of course.
Yeah.
And so when did you start getting into the music? Like
Straight away, I grew up
at school.
Yeah, like was into music from school. I've been writing bars from 14 years old. I was like a jungle MC originally, because that was the popping thing when I was young. Jungle.
I remember.
Yeah, jungle was like popping. So we was all trying to MC on jungle at the time. But my influence always been dancehall and hip hop, back to back.
Yeah.
And growing up in the community, I grew up in fell in love with reggae music from a very early age.
Yeah, because obviously Hackney is strong Jamaican
Yes.
influence in Hackney.
Yeah, very strong, very strong. So I grew up with a lot of people. Became like my, not even friends, I'll say family. So I grew up in that community amongst the culture and fell in love with the music from a very early age. You know, so I took on that whole inspiration from it from very young. And obviously became an MC from like 14. So my first MC name was MC Tugboat.
Nice.
And then that was like 14 years old. And by the time I turned 16, I've been always so aggressive on the mic. So it's like anytime I'm like performing, we weren't going to studios, we'd go to house parties or whoever, the decks in their yard or little more time house parties. So we'd go and set up house parties all over the shop. Me and the crew or whoever, you know, and we'd go and MC, and it'd be like loads of us MCing. And I'd be very aggressive on the microphone, so I'm always like I'm trying to clash the next person who's MCing next to me. So that's where the war thing come in now. It's like, no, you need Tuggawar, because it's like I've got this aggression when I'm performing. You know, like my whole aggression of the Tuggawar.
Yeah, that was one of the things I was going to ask you. Obviously, where and how you got the name.
The name
And was
Tuggawar,
the name given to you then?
It was. I have to big up a good friend of mine called Pinky, who original Hackney as well, who gave me the name. Used to party together when we was young, and he recognised the aggression in me and the whole war. And my lyrics always very warish, so it's just Tugboat wasn't suiting. It was more tug of war, because Tugboat, we lost the boat anyway, so the boat kind of got dashed out of it from a long time. So it was just MC Tugga for a while. So it was just Tugga, and then the Tugga, and then the war, because of the aggression. It was tug of war. You know what I mean? So that's how that come.
And so you must have been, like you say, you dropped out of school early.
Yeah.
And so you must be lucky then, like you say, you fell into sort of gang life and stuff like this, like to obviously...
Unfortunately.
You fell into, unfortunately, but you didn't end up going to jail during them times there. You
No.
must have been one of the lucky ones, obviously.
Yeah, I was one of the lucky ones, yeah.
With a bit of skill, bit of luck at them times.
Yeah, loads of close ones. Loads of close ones.
And so, you know, when you went out to Jamaica, the time you went to jail out there.
Yeah.
Was that the first time you've been to Jamaica?
Yeah.
That was the first time you've been to
First
Jamaica?
time ever, yeah.
And you know when you went there, were you going there with the intention of bringing stuff back? I know you were going there on holiday, but you were always thinking in the back of your mind you'd seen other people bring stuff back. Mm-hmm. So you were going to...
No, I didn't go with the intention to bring stuff back. I'm going to be honest with you, at the time, I started selling weed from 16.
Yeah.
So I sort of became a certified weed dealer from that age. So I went to Jamaica when I was like 19, 20.
Yeah.
So it was like, by then I was already kind of deep into it.
Of course.
And I was already into kind of just getting involved in the smuggling game. Because we already was meeting people, and I was already arranging things, and I was already involved in the smuggling game.
Yeah, so it was easy.
Before it, so hence the reason why I had the links to make it happen. You understand what I'm saying? But I didn't actually go out there to do that.
Yep, you went out there for a holiday.
Yeah, I went out there for a holiday with my ex-girlfriend. She actually her family came from Spanish Town. So, people that are familiar with Spanish Town, it's quite a ghetto area. She was from a very, like, ghetto part. It's called St. John's Road. And I just went for 2 weeks, for a 2 weeks holiday. So it was my first time to Jamaica. So even though I've grown up, even the Jamaican accent, I've had this from before I went to Jamaica, because just growing up with the culture, you know? So it was my first trip ever to Jamaica for 2 weeks, and it ended up being years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man. And so, talk to me about how you found Jamaica then. Obviously going out there, what was Spanish Town like? How did you love it?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
say you were spitting this before you went out there, you're on the music thing.
You know what?
Culture.
In my first before I went to prison?
Yeah, before you went to prison. So
Well, it was only 2 weeks, so I didn't get, 2 weeks ain't a long time.
were you seeing touristy sort of bits?
Yeah, like I was a tourist at that point. So like at that point, because I'm with my ex at the time as well, so I'm limited to what I'm doing. I'm just sort of, I didn't really get to see much. The only time I broke off and done my own thing was when I went and bought the weed.
Yep.
And done that. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So apart from that, I was obviously traveling around Jamaica, seeing bits and bobs.
Yeah.
It was around Christmas time, but I more stayed around Spanish Town, and we went to like maybe Portmore or here or there. But I didn't really do that much, to be honest with you, in the first 2 weeks before me getting locked up. And then I decided that I was gonna try, because that's why I only got caught with £6. So it was only £6 of weed.
Yeah, so did your missus smoke weed or anything like this?
She wasn't a big smoker, but she'd smoke a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, she wasn't actually a stoner like
And
me.
so talk to me, obviously it comes to the end of the 2 hour day, and then what makes you decide to take a bit back? Obviously people are saying to you, oh, you can make a bit of money. Or you
No, I'm already making money off of it, bro.
Yeah.
Remember, I'm doing it from before.
Yeah.
Like, I was involved in the whole
so
kind of
you're
thing
making money back there, but so what made you decide to try and take some back?
Because I'm going to be honest with you. We already had it going on, so I had a move that was not going wrong. Basically. So more time, when you do smuggling moves, £20 of weed upwards, £50 of weed is a proper smuggling move. But you can get caught, right? This with the £6, we had this little coup where it was only £6 and it fit in 2 Easter buns and it wasn't getting caught. It was like almost foolproof.
Yep.
So I thought, and on top of that, because £6 ain't that much weed, it's like, you think, all right, even if you get caught with it, you're just gonna pay a fine and go home.
Yeah, of course.
Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's like, oh, fuck it. Even if you get caught with it, I didn't think I was gonna do a prison sentence for £6 a week. I thought I'm gonna get a slap on the wrist,
Especially
a fine.
that side, yeah.
Right. It's not a massive. That's why I say a smuggling move to me is £20 upwards.
Yeah.
We're talking about ganja.
Yep.
You get what I'm saying? So it's £20, £50, £100. That's a smuggling move. You get what I'm saying? Upwards, ton, whatever. Not £6 of weed is like almost a personal. Even though it's worth a lot of money over here, it's not a great deal of weed, is it?
Can you remember how much it cost you out there?
Yeah, it cost me. I spent a lot of money on it because I went to a place called Little London.
Yeah.
In West Milan, and it was through a friend of mine, and it was a really good farmer, and I paid $500 for £7 of weed.
So for people in this country, that's about 3.5 kilos.
Yeah, for £7 of weed, not 6, 7, because I smoked £1 before I left.
Yeah, so yes, fucking hell. So how much? $500
for £7.
Jesus.
So what's the maths on that? That's about...
And you end up getting over 3 kilos, so you end up paying about fucking £150 a key.
More or less, yeah.
Yeah, Jesus.
Yeah. And it's like...
And how much would that
That's
be
expensive
worth?
over there.
Yeah.
That's expensive.
Like tourist prices you were paying?
No, I wouldn't say it's tourist prices. No, it's just good quality weed prices.
Yes.
Because not everyone, when they're smuggling weed, everyone's trying to make money. So usually when people are smuggling weed, they're trying to buy cheap weed because no one wants to risk. Because remember, this weed can get caught. It's going through borders.
Yeah, this is stuff you would have smoked when you get back.
Right. So I've gone out of my way to buy personal shit. Okay. The sort of weed I'm bringing through ain't the regular smuggle weed. Like people just selling over regular weed to make money off of. This is connoisseur shit. Because I've done this only £6, right? So I want to make sure it's the best of the best. I'm that sort of guy. I ain't just been no bollocks. It's something I want to smoke, and I'm a connoisseur. So it was really, really special.
Okay, so talk to me about the day. Obviously, you've got the weed, yeah.
Yeah.
Was your missus saying to you, "Oh, do you need to bring this back?" Or was she completely cool with it and thinking it was blessed at the same time, or was she anyone that?
She was cool with it.
She was blessed. Okay.
She was cool with it. Yeah.
So
go on.
Talk to me about then going into the airport then.
Yeah.
Like, were you getting any doubts? There was no point where you thought, I don't even need to do this, you know? Or was you just thinking completely calm the whole time? Like,
I was cool the whole time.
Until you got pulled over by the customs or whatever.
I'll tell you what happened.
Yeah.
So we originally travelled with me, my ex, her sister, on the way to Jamaica. It was me, my ex, her sister, and her daughter.
Yep. On
the way back, we bought the tickets, with the return tickets. So we've turned up at the airport now. All 4 of us, if I remember correctly. Yeah. And the airport, the Al-Qaeda thing, the 9/11 thing was going on just 3 months before. So the security in the airport was extra high. So they had, for some reason or other, you had to book in 4 hours before your flight. 4 hours, not 2. Usually it's 2 hours, right? Because of the extra security breach over 9/11, which is just a few months before, they've increased the leaving time, so you have to book in 4 hours before your flight. So we've actually turned up at the airport 2 hours before the flight. I'm not knowing this, and they're not letting me in the airport. So I'm there with the weed in the suitcase, at the door with my ex and her sister and the little kid ready, and they're not letting the security guard in. They say no, you can't. They're looking at my ticket. You was meant to be here 2 hours ago. It's extra security. You can't come in. So we say, oh, fuck. So we had to turn back to Spanish Town and rebook the tickets. The sister and the daughter decides they're going to stay in Jamaica for a bit longer. And we end up rebooking our tickets 2 days later and going just me and her. And then we got arrested from there. Now, my ex was obviously aware of it. She was fine with it, but on the way again the second time, I could see her feeling a bit uncomfortable in the minicab, smoking the cigarette pretty fast and all of that. And I could feel a little bit. And then when you're at the desk now, where you've got to pay for the tickets at the desk to rebook your ticket, so you have to pay like £50 extra a ticket at the desk. So I was doing that, and I could feel that her energy wasn't right to me. But I'm like, fuck it, we're just going to walk through the same way.
So all in your bag? Or was it?
No, so I had 3 suitcases.
Was that both of your suitcases?
Yeah, so we're travelling together. 3 suitcases, 2 suitcases of clothes, 1 suitcase of food. Because when you come back from Jamaica, everyone brings food. So so this is where the weed is in the suitcase of food. Now the suitcase of food has got sugar cane, June plum. Don't know if you're familiar with that, but it's a smelly fruit. So I will just put all the smelliest fruits in there you could imagine, and mixed up with so the weed's in Easter buns. So I've got the weed with Easter buns. I've got real Easter buns. I've got small Easter buns, and I've got fruit, and I've got sugar cane. And I've got all sorts of smelly stuff here, and it's compressed. And so that's the weed's in the food case. Bang. So they searching the cases. You book in. They bring your cases up on the table. So there's a guy there searching. He puts the case up on the table. So he searches the case one by one. He goes through the clothes, takes everything out, puts everything back in, gets to the case with the food now, and he starts taking the food out. And he picks up the weed, and he goes like this, and he puts the weed out, and he puts the weed back in. And I'm like, wicked. Gatwick, here we come. Bang. He zips back up the case, and we're in the queue. to go to the next part where you go towards the plane or whatever. Or to put cases, this is to put your cases on the machine to go on the plane or whatever. And then I get a tap on the shoulder, like 2 minutes after he zips up the plane by a lady officer or a lady sergeant. She seemed quite high up. She didn't have the regular. She looked like different badges on her. And she says, "Excuse me, I'd like to search your cases." And I says, "What do you mean search my cases?" I says, "The gentleman here's just searched my cases." And she says, "I know. I want to search them again." And I'm like, "What the fuck is this?" You know what I mean? I was like, "What?" Because like, he's just searched them and he's searched them and closed back up the case. I'm in the queue. I'm not in the queue for long, like 2 minutes in the queue, and I'm getting a tap on the shoulder and she wants to search them again. And I'm like, fuck, you know, this is like, from that happened, I was like, oh fuck, what the fuck's going on here? So she starts searching the case, but she's searching a lot more thorough than the first guy. Because the first guy picked up the weed and remember he picked it up and put it back in and zipped it back in. You know what I mean? Because it's disguised well. She's going through, she's got an ice pick, you know what ice pick is, right? So she's got an ice pick in her hand. She's pulled out from nowhere. And she's picking up the clothes and she's, every bit of fucking clothes she's picking up, she's even down to the sock, because she starts on the cases with the clothes. So she's picking up every piece of clothing and stabbing it with the ice pick. Even my shoes. Choo! My socks. Choo! Jeans. I'm saying, fuck, you're putting holes in my clothes now. I ain't even worried about the clothes, because I'm thinking about she's going to get to this fucking food in a minute. So she's, ironically, she goes through the clothes first. I'm thinking, I beg you run out of steam, because she goes hard on the clothes. Hard. Like she's stabbing fucking holes through socks and them thing there. You get me? And I'm thinking, this don't look good. So she gets to the food now. And she picks up the fucking Easter bun and she every like it was June plums. So like first she goes in the fruit and I see her get the fruit and she got the ice pick and she's like bang! And you know when you see her orange just explode, like she's destroying the fruit with this ice pick. Like this bitch fucking, what are you looking for? Like she's, the way she's searching, I know you're gonna find it. It's just a matter of time. I can tell by the way she was searching the clothes. Like that's it, I'm fucked. I'm just watching it play out. You know what I mean? So she gets to the fucking weed now and holds it and she goes like that and she goes like that and she goes, Tugga! And she pulls it out and it's all green and it's all gummy and she goes like that. This is country, man. You're under arrest. It's the classic line. That's the classic line. And I did see that is the walk of shame. They do the walk of shame because the airport's rammed.
Same for your missus with you though. Arrested
yeah.
With you both you arrested.
Like her, she did a silly movement at the time in sense of she jumps up in front of her and says, "It's mine!" And we already talked prior saying, look, if anything goes wrong, you don't know nothing about this guy. It's my thing. And I'm gonna own up for my shit. And I'm not gonna let my woman, of all people, I would let anybody, let alone my woman. You get, I'm a stand-up guy. You get what I'm saying? It's mine. I have no problem with that. The crowd at the time. She already knows. I already had that conversation. And she's standing up and saying, "It's mine." I'm like, what the fuck? So I'm half kicking her like, shut up! And this is going on in front of the others. She says, you said that? And I said, she didn't say nothing. So this will be taken down against you in court. And I'm like, oh my God, here we go. Like, keep your mouth shut. Then I start, at the process of that, I'm taking receipts out of my wallet. Trying to say, look, I bought this bun from the bakery, but I'm telling him I bought the bun from the bakery. She's telling him it's hers. Like, this is looking stupid now. We're just getting, this is on the spot.
Fucking hell.
I swear, fam. Like, and then I'm telling her, shut up. After me telling her, shut up, she don't say no more. But it's too late because you've already said and they've already noted it. So whatever I say now just looks like a lie. Do you get what I'm saying? It's all fucked. So we do the walk of shame through the whole airport. Around, everyone's looking at you because they don't know what they caught you with. We look like we got caught with 20 keys of coke. Yeah, that's how it looks. So I look where they are. Like, you know what I mean? There. You get walked through the whole fucking airport.
And then what's the process there? Where do you get taken to?
Process,
at the back?
yeah, it's a joke. It's the most ridiculous process you ever see in your life. Because the corruption over there is crazy. So it's crazy experience getting nicked for weed. And then just spending your whole time smoking weed is kind of a head fuck, to be honest with you. That's why I'm so free. I do consider myself a freedom fighter. I'm a freedom fighter because it's just certain shit in life don't make sense to me. You get what I'm saying? And that's one thing, like, that's what I mean, the whole, and look to the situation now, sorry to digress, but I mean down to the situation in Jamaica now, where weed's legal there now. Weed's legal in so many countries around the world, but you see what people like me had to go through for just a little bit of weed. But then you not smoke because, like, I smoked more weed in the prison than I did at the prison.
Yeah.
And it's the same police bringing you the fucking weed in the prison. So you work that one out.
You know, from the airport, then you obviously, did you get remanded straight to the jail? Like, how's that happen?
Yeah.
And what happened to your missus then? She get taken to the female jail or the same jail? There's a different wing within the jail.
Yeah, she gets taken to a different jail if I remember correctly. Yeah. So what happened? They took me to downtown Kingston lockup. It's a hardcore motherfucking jail. In a segment called Pegasus. So it's got different segments, different blocks, so to speak.
But going back, like, sorry to interrupt you. So what was it? So they said to you, right, we're going there. And did you get taken in a car with your missus there, or?
Well, you got taken to the prison airport, the prison section of the airport. So they take you to the little prison. Sorry, not prison. Sorry, police. Get my words wrong. You get taken to the police department in the airport.
Yep.
They sit you down there for a minute, talk a couple shit to you, then they put you in the Jeep and take you to the jailhouse.
And this was with your missus?
Yeah, but they took her to a different jailhouse. So they didn't get sent to the same jailhouse because they take the women somewhere else.
And before you obviously got separated, or the point there, was there like emotional moments? Did she start to crack in that she was going to jail at this point?
What? Before what, sorry?
From when you obviously in the airport, the police cell was there, and then they said, right, you're obviously going to the jail. Was there?
No, we got separated from.
Yeah, there's different cells.
We got separated. So from the airport, I think we got to like. But there weren't no really emotional moments from there. I just told her she had her emotional moment when she said so. I told her shut up from then. So it was just like, then everyone's just trying to figure out what's going to happen next at that point. Do you understand what I'm saying? It was like her situation is different to mine, where she's got family in Jamaica, where I'm a total foreigner out there. You know what I mean? So I'm a British citizen. This happened to me. She's got family out there, so her situation is slightly different to mine, right? And she's got to deal with her family, which is a whole different situation as well. You know what I'm saying? So my situation was different. So everyone's at that point. It's funny when your back's against the wall, you actually think about how you can only think about yourself, right? In that kind of situation. Okay,
and so talk to me about getting taken in that Jeep to the jail then, and what that first day, or how the feelings were.
It's crazy. I just remember
confident, but that must have been intimidating.
She was a bit of a wind up because I tried to bribe her on the way. So when she's walking me through, before she gets me to the police department in the airport, I tried to bribe her. So I'm talking to her, I'm saying, why did you want to search me again? So she don't want to talk to me at first. It's before we even get, because it's quite a long walk through, and we're doing the walk of shame here for everyone. I'm trying to talk to her while we're doing the walk of shame. I'm like, why did you want to lock me up? Why did you come and search my bags again? She says, Jesus told me you had drugs in you. I'm like, oh, leave it. I says, why did you do it? So I pester her, and she says, oh, I saw your girlfriend's face and I knew you had drugs. And then I said, oh, remember I mentioned that from before? Yeah. And then I said to her, listen, can't we sort this out? We can go to the Western Union and sort this out, man. You know what I'm saying? So I was dropping hints, you know what I mean? And then she said, you trying to bribe me? And this is a church woman. It was like, and like, then there's a lot of corruption in the Jamaican police force, but not there. Like she was like, I must have got the most straightest, honest officer to arrest me. You couldn't bribe her. No amount of money weren't bribing her. You know, respect to her still because she's doing her job honestly, boy. She couldn't bribe her. Like she weren't having none of it. You know what I mean? Yep. So that's how that situation happened. And then she takes me there, and she put me in her Jeep and she blasted out Berris Hammond all the way from Normal Manley Airport. It's weird getting locked out there. It's a party for them. Like, I was like, your party, she's partying in the car. I remember her turning Berris Hammond loud. Remember the songs used to make you rock away. Those were the days. She's all enjoying it, thinking what she's gonna go out to tonight. She driving me to the station right now. I'm thinking, you bitch. Like, you know what I mean? I was like, fuck that shit. That kind of stuck in my head because I like, you know, when you just get like, you're getting locked up and this person wants to play Barry Hammond loud. I love Barry Hammond, I love the song, but I don't want to hear it now. No. Like, you know what I mean? I don't want to hear this shit now.
We're at the right time.
You know, it was a terrible time. I remember that moment. So she drives me from the airport to the downtown Kingston lockup. Is it St. James Street? I think. It's a very famous lockup. It's a hardcore jailhouse. And there, it's crazy. They put you in, they searched my case, and then they found an eighth of weed that was in my case from England, believe it or not. In my case. And they said, was this the sample for the weed that you got? I said, no. I said, you wouldn't even believe this, officer. That come from England. At that point, I don't give a fuck. I tell him, that come from England. And then anyway, they kept it. I was so, like, they see the face. I was so pissed off that I got nicked. Oh, and the whole thing went down like that. And they see the face of me, because I got a face like, when I'm pissed off, you know about it. So like, they see it like, you know what, credit to the police officer, because he put me in the jail last night, and like, his segment called Pegasus, like 23, 25 people all on the floor, and your bed is the Daily Star newspaper, next to a wall full of cockroaches.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so you don't, this is something out of the movies, where you know, you look at the wall, you don't see the wall, you can only see roaches and bugs and different sort of things. So one wall is full of cockroaches, and everyone gets like a sheet of newspaper, and that's your bed. So you make it out, maybe you use your pillow, can be your t-shirt or your jacket, because you ain't getting nothing to sleep in. That's it, you're sleeping on the floor, and everyone's sleeping on the motherfucking floor in there. So I went in there all the corner, sitting down on one piece of newspaper, and the same police officer who took the weed from me comes and calls me out. I go up to the gate, and he gives me the weed. Bless him, he gives me the weed, and I go back, and I kind of figure out who's top boy in this cell. You know, like, my little ghetto instincts kind of tell me, okay, this guy's running the section. So I kind of give this guy a little spliff, this guy a little spliff, and get to know a few of them, and got on from there, son.
Mad.
Yeah.
And so were you the only white guy in that?
In that part, yeah. In that jailhouse, yeah.
And so was there a bit of reaction when you came in and being a white guy into the prison?
Yeah, I mean, they'll look at me instantly like, oh, they're hungry in there. So a person like me could be, I'm food to them. You get what I'm saying? I'm a different breed though. People feel people's energy. You get me? So it's like, me when, like, I ain't someone you can fuck around with, number one. I went in there with my Rolex. I had a Rolex on. Yeah. And they're all looking at it. And my vibe is like, come and try and take this off.
Well, it might have been a surprise to them to see a white man, but you'd actually grown up with black people.
Yeah,
so
I wasn't intimidated.
You, so you once they see you, the confidence and the talk.
Yeah. And at that point, I'm so upset. I don't give a fuck. I'm ready to. I'm not gonna let anyone violate me. I'll die. I'll die for it. I've got a lot of pride. You get what I'm saying?
And so what was the process then? Who was like the first person you called then? And when did you get a phone call? Did you call your dad back home or your mum then, like a couple of days later when you were in the jail?
In the jail, I have to phone my dad.
You phoned your dad that first day, was it?
Yeah, straight away. That's the hardest phone call. That's the most emotional phone call, is when I'm in the jail. And it's crazy, that whole situation is really crazy as well, because you don't get a phone call. So that whole process is really strange, because I'm asking him, can I make a phone call? There is no phone call. So there is no phone call. You can't make a phone call, and there's no phone booth, there's no phone call. I've got to bribe an officer, I've got to pay off an officer to use his mobile. So I had to give an officer 2,000 Jamaican dollars, like £20, buy him £10 credit and give him a tenner to use his mobile. That's how I phoned my dad, which you'd think, like, is there not a phone prisoners can use in it? No, there ain't. So you got to use so I had to basically bribe an officer to use his phone, phone my dad off of his phone and say, tell him the bad news. And like, I'm in jail. Obviously I have to tell him, he's expecting me, I'm flying back, right?
Yep.
So I phoned him and said, look, I got caught, I'm in jail, tear.
At this point, were you thinking do you think you're going to be out shortly? It was just going to be a fine or something? You weren't really...
At that point, I didn't know how it was going to go down because of the scenario before I got caught, I was calculating it like that. Before I got caught, I was calculating it like, I'm just gonna pay it off.
Yeah.
But by the time I got caught and the scenario in the airport with my ex, and it just seemed a little bit more complicated, so I didn't know how it was gonna go down in the court now.
Yeah.
So
how long was the court case? When did the court case from when you first got in the prison? So how long were you in the prison?
2 weeks. 2 weeks.
In
yeah.
the same cell.
In the same little part. Yes, it's not even a cell. It's like a it's just like one kind of. It's like an L-shaped sort of prison, and it's like a gutter there, and everyone's on the floor. It's a funny looking.
What about toilets and that?
It's about 25 people, and 25 to 30 people on my set.
Was there toilets and that?
One toilet and one shower. I'll be honest with you, I didn't have a shower for 2 weeks because that shower in the jail was unusable. It was unusable. I mean, like, unfucking usable, bro. And I tried to, like, I'm a very hygienic person, and I tried to, and it's just so disgusting. There was no way I could even shower in there. Like, there was just like, it was like, I can't even describe it. It was just unusable. Like, I couldn't use it. And like, I didn't see a lot of people using it either. Like, the process to like splash some water in your face or something, because there wasn't a situation where I can't even describe it, so it wasn't usable.
As much as you're a confident person, that must have been a shocking couple of weeks for you in your life. You've never been to prison even in this country, which obviously is nothing near those conditions, but
yeah, this is a big,
fuck me, you've been thrown right in the deep end. You're in one of these dormitory 25-man cells.
Yeah.
Sounds nuts.
Yeah.
Was there violence in that in this dormitory?
Yeah, there was a lot of violence, and where I got locked up was crazy, because where I was in my cell, there was a little red cross on the wall right where I was sleeping, right where I put my paper to sleep, and the other prisoners are there, and then obviously I became to know the prisoners, right? I know who's running the section and whatever, and I banter with them every night or whatever, we're talking, get to know them, right? And then they were telling me that cross there is because a man get killed this a week before I get put in. So it's like, not just fights, people get killed in these places like that. That is really, you have to know what you're dealing with. And the jail can be worse than the prison. Because in the jail, you got people who can't afford lawyers. Because it's not like over here where you get free lawyers and all of that. You got people who can't afford no fucking lawyers. So, they're in there for a long time. They don't know when they don't even know when their court case is. Because they can't afford a lawyer. You can't afford a lawyer, you can't get a court case. Let alone a sentence or a hearing or whatever. So some of them are in there for, this is the jailhouse. So like, and I met like some guys in there. So these guys are extra frustrated. So this is where you don't want to, like, these guys, a lot of shit, more shit can go down. At least in the jail, in the prison, man's doing their sentence, they know where they stand. Yep. You're doing that or you're doing this. In the jailhouse, it's a real unstable place for some people if they haven't got a solicitor or haven't got money, come from a poor family, can't afford a solicitor. I've seen people in there for years.
Yep.
And they can't go.
So did you have enough money on you to pay for your solicitor, or did you get your dad's solicitor?
No, I didn't. Like, I didn't have nowhere near enough money. The solicitor wanted so much money, I ended up not paying him. I didn't want a solicitor.
Yep.
But I was getting advised by my ex's family to use this solicitor to get out of it. But I'm thinking, but what am I pleading here? Guilty? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, well, listen. And he wanted £1,500.
Yep.
And I'm like, I didn't have £1,500 on me. And I was like, I could get £1,500, yeah. But I was like, what am I paying you £1,500 for to tell him I'm guilty?
Yeah.
I can do that myself.
Yep.
Oh, but if you use him, then the sentence will be less. And I'm like, I ain't listening to all of that shit. Like, if you're not fighting listen, I'll pay you gladly if you're fighting my case. If I've got a case and I'm trying to go innocent, and you're gonna fight my case for me, and you're gonna fight it good, then I'll pay you. But if you're not fighting the case, what the fuck am I paying you for?
Of course.
So I just couldn't fathom it. I had a discussion with my dad on the phone, and there was no way we was gonna pay him £1,500 to tell him I'm guilty. Fuck you. I'll do that myself.
Yeah, so what happened? This is a court case then?
And apparently the solicitor's mates with the judge. The judge's name was Martin Gill. He don't like traffickers.
Yeah, now you weren't even oiling the system as well, so you decided not to have the solicitor then?
Yeah.
You went on your own then?
Yeah.
So you weren't oiling the system as you're meant to?
No, exactly. I wasn't oiling the system as I was meant to. Which, if I did, God knows, but I wasn't willing to. And I'm so happy I didn't. Fuck that. Fuck that. I'm a man, I don't like programming.
It turned into a proper blessing in the end. But
exactly.
So talk to me about that day then. So what did the judge say then, and what did he sentence you to then?
Yeah, so the judge...
Did you get sentenced on that first day in the court case then? So
a year.
So on that first day though, that first court case, you gone there, pled guilty, and he sentenced you all in that one
Yeah,
sitting?
all in one sitting. Was it all in... Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, all in one sitting, yeah. All in one fucking sitting.
And when you got the year, you must have been shocked.
I was shocked. I was looking at him like... I thought... honestly, did think I had high hopes for a fine and sent home. Because I'm speaking to the guys in my cell and the guys in the we call it bullpen before you go in the courthouse, jailhouse. And they're telling me, yeah, you'd be alright with you. So they were saying about the other judges would have kind of let me off with a fine. Or anything, not such a long sentence. Because I know people got caught with £20 of weed. Guy, when I'm in the prison, I meet people caught with £20 of weed and got 4 months. And I got caught with £6 of weed and got a year. So he did make an example of me.
And it's because maybe you're English, though, rather than understand Jamaican people. They wanted to set the example, like you say, it's not English people to be doing it.
Definitely. Probably sick of it by then. They got to make an example of this boy now, yeah.
Okay, and so from the courtroom, did you get taken to the main prison now, or the jail now, or did you get taken back to the dormitory, 25-man thing?
Back to the dormitory.
Yep.
Because the prison truck only leaves every Saturday.
Okay.
So, I can't remember what day it was, but it was during the week I got sentenced. So I had another good few days in the jail house.
And by this point, were you looking forward to actually getting out of this fucking dormitory and getting to the prison? Or no one's looking forward to going to prison?
No, I didn't know what I was looking forward to no more at that point because...
It's such a mystery.
Yeah, it's all a mystery. You don't know what to expect next. So you just got to prepare yourself. So I'm speaking to the people them in the jailhouse and they're telling me a lot about the prison. And the friends I made in the jailhouse are kind of trying to prepare me for what I'm going to encounter. In what I'm about to encounter and what to do and what not to do. Things like that. Other than that, it's just common sense and the person I am and how I grew up and the surroundings I grew up in that got me through overall. But yeah, at that point, you don't know what to expect.
Yep.
It's a whole mystery. The joke thing about the jail now, I remember the jail is no sunlight. So there's no sunlight in the fucking jail. So that whole 2 weeks I was in the jail, no sunlight. No sunlight. So I didn't realise till I got off the prison truck and the sun hit me. So it took me about 15 minutes, 20 minutes for my eyes to get used to the fucking sunlight again because I've turned like a gremlin or something who ain't seen the sunlight. And I see bright light. And I see this bright light and I'm in your eyes now and I'm like, it's like all like that. I was squinting for about 20 minutes just to see properly again because I've been in darkness for 2 weeks. It was crazy. I've never been out of the sun so long for 2 weeks. So when I come back in the sunlight, it took me time to refocus back into daylight. You know what I mean? So it was a mad thing, and then you're looking around in this prison. You know, so that's a kind of mad feeling. You've been in a dark little cell for 2 weeks, and then you get released out the prison. The prison truck drives crazy. You're bumping around and 45-minute prison truck drive.
Was there a few of you that got taken from the?
Yeah, it's a whole blood. Yeah, it was about 6, 7.
Yeah.
7 of us got taken to the prison. We all got taken up to the section. They all take you in like cattle, so it's like a farm. So they'll take you in like a body, and they almost strip you down naked to see what tattoos you got on you, what scars you got on you, and they take you in like I don't know why they do that, but they see your tattoos, your scars, and then you get accepted as a body. And they even tell you, we accept you as a body, and you'll come out as a body, but there's no guarantee you'll be a live body. And that's the kind of motto in there. And they tell you from the gate, welcome to the factory. Like, you get accepted here as a body, you will come out here as a body. But whether you are breathing motherfucking body is a whole different story. but you will make it out here as a body. And we're going to accept you as a body. So it's really kind of cattle games they're playing in there. It's crazy. They're marking you up like sheep in that motherfucker. So it's about 6, 7 of us come from the jailhouse. And 6 of them now got taken to another section, and they've left me after they've done all the checkups and all of that, checking your bags, whatever it is. Then they've sent the other 6 to a whole other section, and they said, you're going over there. I said, why am I going over here? Why are them not going over? What the fuck's going on? I felt like I was being set up.
Yeah.
Or is this you setting up the only white man or something? Because I see the other 6 dudes get taken to another section, and I'm me one now here, and he's telling me about, I'm going to this section, a special section. I'm like, what kind of special section? I was confused, and when I'm confused, I get a little bit agitated, and I don't trust no one around me. I start getting a bit agitated. So I was getting a bit agitated there, and the guy's and then he takes me over to some like gate bit, and he says me, look at that guy there. And he makes me look at this guy. I've never seen this motherfucker in my life. And he says, this guy, he's receiving you. And I'm like, what the fuck's going on here? And then I'm getting more agitated. I'm thinking, no, this is a big setup here. Like you know, when you've seen this in the movies. Yeah, I can see what's going on here. We saw this in the Scarface movie. You know what way there. I can see what's going on here. And then I was really kind of getting like agitated and nervous at the same time. 'Cause I don't know what the fuck's going on. And the warders, and they're forcing you got to go over there with this brainer. So I'm saying, who are you? So he says, he starts saying like, the guy's shouting out someone's name to me. The person's name he's shouting out, I don't know, because he's calling his real name. But it ends up being my brethren, who's in that section. Big up Dan Man. So Dan Man was in that section, and he sent this guy to come and receive me from the park. So they ended up, basically, my brethren paid off the warders to put me on that section.
Blessings.
Blessings. But I didn't see what was going on. And I don't trust shit. And I'm in the city, and I've been in the jail, and I really ain't trusting anything that moves or breathes. So I was really, and then when okay, this makes sense now. But when he said, because he was calling him by his real name, and I don't even know his real name at that point. I was like, who? This is bollocks. Like, it's a setup. And then they said, Dan. I said, oh. Then I saw Dan, and I was like, oh, this all makes sense now. Because I actually knew he was in the prison already. So I had someone who was a friend who I knew, a friend of my father's as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
And so did you, obviously it wasn't the dormitory setup, you got put in a cell this time?
Yeah, it's a big section now. This is called South Block, Spanish Town Prison. There's like 1,800 people in the prison. There's like 400 people in my section. My section is called South Block. Bad man section, run by the shower posse. And yeah, and the whole section, every section is run by a prisoner. So when you get put on the prison in the section, you get received by a prisoner. So one prisoner will be running each floor. So there's 3 floors in my section: the ground floor, the first floor, and the second floor. So a guy called Scaddy was running my floor. So the warder turns you over to the prisoner, and the prisoner decides what cell to put you in. And he's like the bad man prisoner for that. So he's like the bad man prisoner for that section, for that floor. And you got another bad man prisoner for the next floor and the one for the top floor. And they control each floor, that's their floor. Down to the point of they'll decide who's in what cell. If this man violates, like this man have to move out of that one. They're like they call them orderly prisoners. They're long sentence prisoners who have earned respect. They're like trusted a little bit anyway by the warders to have that role, or the prisoners as well. You get it?
Yep.
So it's crazy. So that's a whole different experience. And then it's cool. Me and Scaddy got on. But imagine if that guy don't like you, he just put you in a fuck up cell. So
who's your first cellmate then?
My first cellmate was
one person in the cell with you?
No, there's no such thing. Let me tell you the rules in Jamaican prison. There is no such thing as 2 people in a cell. At no time at all. Even if you want to go and talk to your friend, you cannot go in the cell, you and another man. 2 men are not allowed in a cell at one time at all. If you get caught in a cell, Even if you're just like in the middle of the day and the cell doors are open and you get caught in the cell with just you and another person, they look at you as you're a homosexual.
Oh my God, so it's that strong out
It's
there.
that, at the time when I was there, anyway, I can only speak of my experience.
Yeah.
I don't know what the situation is now. But at the time when I was there, you could not go in a cell, you and another man, no time. So it's either one in a cell or 3, 4, or 5.
Yeah.
So my first night in the cell, it was me and another artist, famous artist, well, Alizade, his name, his real name Michael Sterling, big up Alizade. It was me, Alizade, and another prisoner called Murder. So it was actually 3 artists. Imagine that, it's crazy. That was my first night in Spanish Town prison.
You must have thought this is mad though.
Yeah, it was, you know what, I enjoyed it because to me it was like, okay, this is like a going to the club now. Like I was in the hellhole for 2 weeks.
Yep.
So I'm out there, they play loud music in there. Loud music.
Selling weed and that in there.
Where everything's in there. Like as soon as I get in there, Dan man's give me weed in my hand, they're cooking for me in there. First thing I did was have a shower. I remember I didn't have a shower for 2 weeks. So that, like, listen to my first scenario. I had to got into a run-ins in my first half an hour in the prison. So, remember, I ain't had a shower for 2 weeks. This is Jamaica. I'm sweaty and smelling like a motherfucker. I want to go and have a shower and bathe, and I've just got to the prison now. So the first thing I do when I see Dan, man, I go on the section now and see Dan, man, and they pick what cell I got. And I had to buy it. You ain't got no bed, by the way. You don't get no bed. So you got to go and buy a piece of foam off of another prisoner. It's not a bed you buy, you know, like a piece of foam. So you got to go and buy a piece of foam off of another prisoner, which for about £1.50 English money, about 150 Jamaican dollars, about £1-2, you go and buy a piece of foam and that's your.
Crazy.
So it's better than the Sun newspaper. He upgraded from the Sun newspaper now to about a 1-inch piece of foam.
Probably felt good.
Yeah, like this is something like this. But a big, like without the egg shapes, but like the cheap yellow one. Them, you understand? Anyway, so you buy a piece of that. So the first thing, so that man gives me a piece of weed in my hand. I put that down. I put my stuff down. Get my little cell ready for later. First thing I say, yo, where the shower them there? So him say, yo, yeah, the shower thing gone on. Him say, there's 2 places to go and bathe. So you can bathe indoors. There's an indoor. So I'm a foreigner. I'm considered as a foreigner. I'm in Jamaica. So I'm considered as a foreigner in the prison. So they've actually, the indoor shower section is, they say, is for the foreigners. So the foreigners are actually meant to bathe in the indoor shower section. They've got 2 shower sections. One indoor, one outdoors. Now the indoor one, like I said, is meant to be for the foreigners. So Dan man's telling me the indoor one's for the foreigners, but it stinks like shit because it's next to the shit ass. And the out one, them is for like the Jamaicans. Only people use the outdoor ones like hardcore Jamaicans. Foreigners can't really like. But go on, yeah, roll with weed, Tugga, go out there. Outdoor one. So I say, yeah, what I say, man? So I'm going out now to my little rag and my little soap and walking over to the fucking outdoor shower now. I'm dying for a shower, by the way. And as I'm walking towards them, about 4 of them run up to me and pick up big rocks from the floor and say, "Why, man, where you go? You can't be over here, so where you go?" I'm like, and all of a sudden I've got about 4 to 6 man around me with big, like, fuck up thing with this prison is there's rocks everywhere. Everywhere. Big ass rocks. It's a fuckery place, like, because it kicks off in there, there's weapons everywhere. There's rocks. These rocks will kill you. So this is in the first, I've gone to the shower and there's 6 of them run up to me and say, "No white man can't bathe around here. No white man can't bathe around here. No man with suck pussy and fuck batty can bathe around here." They're putting it on me. They're like, well, they're coming. I actually think they're going to lick off my face now. They're within this distance with the rocks. A couple of them look like they're ready to really, they got it all ready to throw in my face. I can see this has gone wrong. I should have gotten the indoor one. I'm there now. I'm a man. I lost my rag. Literally, I thought I'm going to get it. So he's like, you know when you want to go out? I wanted to go out like Scarface. So I thought it's going to be over. Now I see I'm getting these rocks in my face. So I started cussing them all. "Fuck you, I'm Tuggawar. The fuck you think you're talking?" I swear. I lost it. Because I thought it was my last moment. Yeah. So I gave it to them. "I'm Tuggawar from fucking Hackney." I went Hackney on them. Because I've come to my peak now. I've had a hard 2 weeks. All I want to do is go and have a fucking shower. I haven't had a shower in 2 weeks. Dan man said you can go and bathe outside. I'm going outside. I'm in my fucking boxer shorts with my soap and a rag. And I've got 6 guys around me with rocks ready to lick off my head. I've had enough. At that point, I was like, fuck it, do it then. But I'm going to give you a piece of my bumper clock mine before you do it. Wallow on and suck your mother. Yeah, everybody.
They must be shocked.
They were shocked.
With how you spoke.
Yeah. Hear the story. Christopher Coke's right-hand man, the leader of the shower posse was there at the shower watching me go off on them. I don't know who he is at the time, and he comes up and he says, he tries to put his arm around me. He said, "Look, it's a Tuggawar, man." Because I'm Tuggawar from Hackney. I'll get him all the fucking talk and all that. You get me? So he said, "Tuggawar." He says, "Oh," he puts his arm. He said, "Oh, in the shower posse, you know." I said, this is the baddest man in the prison. And he put his arm around me. This is the fucking bad thing. And I've gone, I'm shrugged him off. I don't want to know no one now. Don't come friend me. As I've kind of shrugged him off. I don't know who he is now. I'm treating him like the rest of them. In reality, he could have got me killed on the spot for that. But he actually liked me and respected me. I swear. I went and had my motherfucking shower. I went back to my cell and bummed my spliff and showered there every day for the rest of my sentence.
Yeah, but you got checked and challenged so quickly.
So quickly. You get me? But I know I'm going to get challenged. I was expecting the challenge. I know, and I'm ready for the challenge. Remember, my ex begged me to take the Rolex off because I stayed in the police cell with the Rolex on for about a week, and she's like, "They're gonna kill you," and I'm like, "I want them to try." I'm in that frame of mind. I was really pissed. I don't give a fuck. Like, come and take this. Come, and they could see my aura, and they didn't want it. But at the end of the day, She was kind of right in a way because I probably would have. Because motherfucking hungry, they're hungry out there, you know what I'm saying? But I don't care. So like, then sensing I was willing to do anything for it. So I'm not just, they can see I ain't the one. And man will feel your aura in that place. So when they test you, just like when they tested me on the things, are like, your aura will speak for itself.
So you said obviously you're in the cell that first cellmates were artists out there.
Yeah. And
did you spit bars to them straight away that first night and obviously show them your thing? When did you start?
Yeah. I mean, I'm an artist like all the time, so I was spitting bars like from the jailhouse even. So I'm spitting bars in the jailhouse. That's how we pass time.
Yeah.
They're one of the Jamaican prison is one of the toughest prisons in the world. And what gets you through it to me? What keeps the people insane? What got me through it? And what I see people in there, what keeps people sane to me, and I'm sure a lot of people will agree with me, 2 things keep people sane in them places is weed and music. Not everyone smokes weed, so they got to listen to music. Now listen, music and weed is so vital. Show you how powerful music and weed is. Very, very powerful. Like, because that prison is designed for them to kill each other. The prison's designed to kill each other. There's no toilet in your cell. You got to get a 2-litre bottle of Evian or Pepsi or whatever you want to call it. Cut a hole in it, big enough to fucking piss in. Tie a piece of string on the top, and put a nail in the corner of your wall and hang that up, and that's called your piss gyal. It's got a name. Piss gyal. Every morning, you cannot shit in your cell. You get 4 hours out of your cell a day. Try to program your body to shit in them 4 hours because you're not allowed to shit in your cell. Now the piss gyal. So you piss in that. So make sure you get a 2-litre one that can hold enough piss for like 24 hours. Your first chore in the morning is to take your piss gyal, queue up with 350 prisoners at 8 o'clock in the morning, with your piss gyal and a bit of sponge, and don't forget a little bit of soap to wash out your piss gyal as well, and stand up in a queue with 350 to 400 prisoners with 2 litres of piss in everyone's hand. It smells like science.
Fucking hell.
Listen to me.
It's like the old slop out days.
You wouldn't believe it. Now listen, you're talking about 400 angry prisoners queuing up at 8 o'clock in the morning with 2 liters. It's not a pretty sight, and things can go wrong.
Yeah, that's mad.
Any spillages on anyone can be your life. So that's the first risk of the day. So your day starts with a life risking experience, because emptying your piss gal every day is putting your life at risk. So like, I worked out what was going on. I was like, this is crazy. And I saw someone lose their life for it. Because I see this shit coming. Because I see everyone, you see, as soon as they open the cells, everyone rushes down with 2 liters of bottle of piss in their hand to go and clean it out, because the first thing they want to get out of the way. Yeah? So, the motherfuckers, I'm on the ground floor. The motherfuckers on the second floor are running down the stairs with some of the younger boys, and they're more fitter and athletic. Them I run fast with 2 liters of piss in their hand. Like, the first day I see one youth in particular, like, because they're kind of racing, because you don't want to be queuing up. So people are racing to. I never see people race with 2 liters of piss in their hand. No. It's not nice. In our prison, in Spanish Town prison, at 8 o'clock in the morning. You need to see it to believe it, brother. So he runs, this guy, from the top all the way down the stairs every morning with this bottle of piss. I saw it happening until one morning he slips. The piss goes everywhere and they beat the motherfucker to death. He got taken out. That was it. I never saw him again. Gone. For that.
Fucking hell.
So that's just what, like, and now I saw it coming with him because he's running fast, and I see you're gonna trip, something's gonna go on. You're running with 2 liters of piss every morning. It's not a wise idea. You're gonna, some mistake. It's not gonna be a pretty mistake when it happens. You hear me? And it happened. Now, that was a one you see coming. Imagine anyone, anybody, me, yourself, anyone could just naturally be walking and trip over. None of us are perfect. You could trip over. You might be a rock on the floor and you trip. You might slip. You might anything. And drop your piss on a fellow inmate.
Of course.
You're in problems.
Right. And talk to me about surviving out there in terms of food and stuff like this within the jail and stuff like.
Yeah.
You eating out there, will you buy your food and stuff?
The crazy thing is with the food situation, like what I said, you have to program your body to go toilet. So you have to care for what you eat. So the prison food, I never ate the prison food. The prison food comes from out of the prison on some prison truck. It's like dog shit food. It's like fucking ridiculous. You couldn't eat it. If you do eat it, you will have diarrhea. Diarrhea, under the circumstances I just told you, is not ideal. Okay? Now so this is where I said the prison, now this is why I'm trying to break down when I said the prison designed for you to kill each other. It is. Because you're giving man, first of all, you're making man queue up with piss every morning. Secondly, you're giving food that's going to give man diarrhea. This food will give you instant diarrhea. Even the rice you can't eat. Down to the rice, it don't look right.
And so, how did you go?
So I cooked, so we got a one little burner hot pot in the cell. There's no electricity in the cell either, so we teethed the electricity from the light outside the cell. And we connected to our one little burner and have a one pot. And the prison's like a market, so you buy everything in the prison.
Yep.
Absolutely anything. So I buy a little bag of oil, like it's enough to cook one meal for $10, which is 10p. I can buy a bag of rice for enough real for about 20p. I buy callaloo for 20p. I buy a whole meal so more time. I lived off of callaloo and rice more or less. Apart from at times, don't get twisted, I got a lot of food smuggled in and I was living in there for here and time, but more time it's just the everyday struggle and bustle of what you're going to eat. And remember, you can't be selfish because you're in a cell, so you're sharing, so you can't think of yourself, you're thinking of your cellmates as well. So whatever, sometimes you got to make up whatever it is for 3 people or 4 people. Maybe this person over here is hungry, you're not going to see him go hungry. You understand what I'm saying? So there's a lot of that in there as well.
And so, Were you these times there? Were you getting your dad sending you money over there then in order to buy all these food and stuff, or did you stack money? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then.
And I was getting money smuggled into the prison.
Yeah, and then weed and stuff like this. Obviously, you had to buy that, and then you were smoking daily in there.
Daily. I started selling weed first in there, and then that was long. I was just smoking it all. So first I bought like a £1/4 of weed in wraps.
Fucking hell, yes.
The first day.
£1/4.
Yeah.
So there was kilos of weed in the jail.
You buy anything in that jail.
Yeah.
Anything.
Fucking hell.
Like
And so,
anything.
How much did a £1/4 cost you then? So that's
$1,500.
So,
£15.
Yeah.
1,500 Jamaican dollars, which is about £15 English money.
fucking hell. So that's fucking bargain rates.
And it was all wrapped up already. It was perfect. It was all wrapped up in little. They're called bullets.
Yeah.
In prison, they're called bullets. Funny enough, they wrap them in bags as well sometimes. But you got a thing called a bullet, which is the silver bit from the cigarette box.
Yeah.
And they wrap the weed around it in the shape of a bullet.
Yeah.
And it sells for $20.
Yeah.
So it was like it was a £1/4 of weed wrapped up in bullets, so it was ready to sell as well. So I smoked most.
And so now your first two cellmates, with their performance, they must have been impressed with you where you could spit bars as a white Englishman.
Yeah, it's crazy. Because obviously the prison didn't know me as a spitter until the stage show.
Okay, so you spoke to a couple of little people privately.
Yeah. I knew a few people knew I was spitting in there, but like when I did the stage show, the whole prison knew me.
Okay, so
I became the superstar. Like Dan Man will tell you, I became the prison star within very short space of time. So I went from being the regular white kid in the prison to the superstar kid after the stage show. It was it's a whole different.
So
respect.
talk to us about the stage show then. What was the stage show then?
The stage show was epic. It was. I remember every bit of the day. It was so epic, because it was probably the nicest day in the prison. They allowed us out all day because usually you weren't allowed out your cell that much. So it was like a 20-hour lockup a day. You know what I mean, or 21-hour lockup.
Was it like a holiday day there in Jamaica or something? It
was Easter Monday.
Okay. Yeah.
Easter Monday. You know what I mean? So Easter Monday, and they allowed us out all day. And there's a big sound, so they got a music section on the prison. And when I say a music section, I mean a music section. I mean every bit of equipment you could imagine. So I'm talking about bands. I'm talking about the biggest of. Carnival. Imagine going Carnival and seeing the big setup. Same. Crazy. So it's a big set. We've got the stage. Not the stage. We've turned a bit. There's a bit in my section that looks like a stage. So we've turned that into where the stage is. Yep. And ironically, the stage show kept on because it's a big prison, but the stage show ended up being on my section, right?
Yep.
So I helped carry the speakers from the music section. I start from 8 o'clock in the morning, helping them carry the speakers from the music section, setting up the sounds. I was a part of that whole process. I was a sound boy, helping them carry the sound boxes and press up that whole. I was enjoying that whole vibe.
Music. So
I love music. It's going on, so I helped set it up. Even they had a little warm-up set on the decks, and I chatted early on that, but the crowd weren't there yet because the main highlight was the stage show with the artists on the live bands, which was Jacure and Zebra.
Yeah, so for
live bands.
Jacure wasn't coming in to perform. He was a prisoner.
No, he was there. He was prisoner. He wasn't on my section, but I saw him every day. He'd come over to the section. He was on another section called Grass, they called it.
And were you a big fan of Jacure, obviously, or not?
At the time, I wouldn't say a big fan, but he wasn't. He had a good few songs that I was a fan of. So yeah, I was a fan of him.
Yep.
So I know a few because he had a song. It's crazy. I got to know his music more in the prison. I knew his music before the prison. Don't get it twisted. I loved his music from before the prison. He had a song called Jaja Bless Me. I know Jaja bless me. No wicked dog can test me. No matter how they try. So like that song was like a prison song as well. And it was our song in prison. We used to play that every day. That used to get us through the day. It was one of them get you through the day songs. Mm-hmm. So like a lot of Jacure's songs got us through the day out there. And he was in the prison as well. So it was mad. We would listen to his music and be with him at the same time. And see him in the prison at the same time. And these songs are playing at the same time. So it's kind of, even with Alizade, and we'd all be beating off the prison doors when their songs be coming on the radio and shit. Mm. So it was a nice vibe like that.
But you know where you'd obviously be bumping into Jacure on a daily, but had you had a chance to spit any bars to him prior to the stage thing?
Loads. Every day we're spitting bars together. Listen, you see the day I got released, I went looking for him.
Yep.
Because I became not crazy like we didn't become good, but we became like very familiar with each other. I'd go with him, like I'd go around, not just him, because I'll keep myself away from the fuckery. I don't want to get mixed up in the fuckery. I just go around the music section, the music vibes. Even though I tried to sign up to the music section, but because I wasn't on a long sentence, only long sentences can go to the music section, because they've got actual music section where you can go every day. You see that same place with all the musicians, everything. So Jacure goes to that every day, and they get to use the equipment. He recorded "Longing For" in the prison. So that song, you know that song, "Longing For." He recorded that in the prison. You hear the passion in that song. So
I bet you were gutted that you couldn't go into this music section.
I was gutted. And my brethren got a look. My brethren who weren't on a long sentence, Dan man got on there. I was proper jealous. I was like, oh fuck's sake, man. Like, it would be nice to run off the day, but. For one reason or another, I couldn't get on there. You get me?
Okay, so going back to then the day of the show then, and obviously you did some of the warm up things.
That's why he called me up, because he heard me spitting everything. Yep. Remember, he called me up on the stage show.
So to tell the people, so obviously you're not expected to be on the main show part of it, and tell me, obviously it's crazy.
It was a shock.
You're there, so it's obviously a mad.
Obviously, I'm there for the whole day. I helped set up the dance. I was spitting early on the early little segment with all the prison artists. The main show ain't started yet. And then when the main show starts, I'm still on the stage, right? And I'm like taking the whole show, and I'm smoking my weed on the stage, watching the whole show like from the stage. And
must be wicked though. You must be loving.
Yeah, I was loving it, because I was actually wanting to see them perform, and they performed. Jacure and Zebra had a song together, and the song was called "Under Sykes Things I Go on Under Quiet." I remember the song. It was banging. They performed it. The crowd went mad, and then they played the Bob Marley rhythm, which I call it the creeper rhythm, which says a natural mystic flowing through the do 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 do. And then while they play that rhythm, Jackie was there, and he turns around, looks at me, and said, "Come up here," and he introduces me, and I perform a few songs, and the place goes mad. And I wasn't expecting it, and it was mad. It was just like you see how that song says a natural mystic. It was a natural mystic moment. I wasn't. This is in the middle of his set. You get what I'm saying? Maybe it was a point where probably he performed and he just wanted a breather. So while he was taking a breather, he just called me on to do 2 songs. And because he heard me, I was very humbled by that. You know what I mean? And that was crazy. And that's the whole prison went mad. And in the lyric I chatted.
That's unbelievable. That
it is. And it's crazy because like people I know, there's a few people I know that actually witnessed it. They'll tell you it was a moment. It was a big moment.
Yes, that's like I feel like a big defining moment, isn't it?
Massive.
It's mad how that happened, and then you speak about earlier, like this bad moment in your life, like trying to import the weed back for whatever reason, girlfriend that turned into like a bit of a blessing in your story for sure.
Yes.
And so like you end up within a prison in Jamaica, performing on stage with Jarky on the same stage, Zebra. This is nuts.
Yeah.
People going mad. The buzz must have been
unbelievable. I didn't know what
But you're in prison and you're probably feeling the best buzz you've ever felt in your life. It must have been such surreal. Like, what is that about?
Yeah, literally. You know what? It was phenomenal. It was a mad experience, because there's a lot of feelings over the place where it's hard to get the best buzz of your life when a lot of shit's going on in your life as well.
Yep.
So even though these were phenomenal moments, there were in moments where I'm getting phone calls in the prison that my dad's getting run up on.
Yeah, so talk to us about that. While you're in jail in Jamaica, your dad's selling weed back here in Hackney.
Yes. Mile a minute.
Fairly big amounts as well, serious bit, and he's getting run up on. People
yes, because I'm not they know we was doing it from a long time, obviously, but when I'm there, they wouldn't dream of coming and try anything like that.
No.
Never. You understand?
This is serious robberies from what your dad, what's the program your dad's saying? They're coming in with straps, they're coming in prepared to...
Yes. No, I'm around, like what you said, I grew up in quite a hardcore environments, and that's why I said, so they probably tried to take advantage of it, because when they knew I was in Jamaica, they just looked at him as the old Greek man.
Yes.
Selling the weed,
so
easy to rob.
Was your dad selling weed prior to you going out?
No.
So did he kind of just took away you're in there and just in order to try and help?
It was me doing the business before. I never got him involved in the business. My dad
Yep.
We smoked together.
Yep.
We smoked like crazy together, but I'd handled the weed business. And like, because I know the roads, like my dad's a lot more experienced than me, obviously.
Yep.
But I knew the roads more than him. And I'm talking about the youngers and the roads and the streets. You understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
He wouldn't know, like, I'd know who to deal with and who not to deal with. You understand what I'm saying? More than he would.
Yep.
Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's like them thing that I would know, he wouldn't know. So it's like, you understand?
Stop for a second if you need to.
No, it's cool.
Yep.
Like,
yeah, so talk to me then. So like,
yeah. So that was a danger part on his behalf.
You called in home and your dad's saying, look, I've just been run up on, I've been robbed, I've been held up at... Talk to me, what's that? That must have been horrible, obviously, just a stupid question, but that must have been horrible moments then.
It was really horrible because...
Helpless.
I'm helpless and I know what's going on because I know the kind of grimy motherfuckers I grew up amongst. So I know exactly how they're looking, I know what's going on. And the thing is...
Did he know the people who were robbing him and stuff?
No, we never actually, because they came various different people and it was all covered up or whatever. And anyone, I think maybe one or two we did, and that got settled.
Yeah, but your dad, fair play to him, he carried on during these times. He didn't scare him off and he carried on doing his thing. And in the end he ended up fighting back, didn't he, in one situation? Can you talk about that?
He did.